Good morning. Welcome to your program, Your Agenda. And I am your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us today here on One News. Thank you for being subscribers of Cignal TV. And of course, to those of you who follow us via Facebook, via YouTube, on One News PH Facebook, thank you very much, especially those who have downloaded the Cignal Play app just to watch us on the go. Maraming salamat po. Thank you also to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet that keeps us going. Okay, today is May 24, 2023. It's the middle of the week. It's a Wednesday. And from the looks of it, cloudy and overcast, but mercifully, hindi naman po madilim. Okay, so we hope that the cloud cover will reduce the heat but won't bring in too much of the any of the bad weather, because apparently there is a storm brewing just outside of the Philippine area of responsibility. But we will get to that later. Today, we are going to have several guests on the program on two very different topics. The first topic will be about the frustrations of many travelers, particularly or specifically those flying with Cebu Pacific and flying in and out of NAIA. Over the last few days, there have been so many complaints posted on Facebook. Even our regular guest here on Agenda, architect Paulo Alcazaren, had posted that once again he was experiencing several hours of delays. Even my brother-in-law and my sister were reporting delays, frustrations, family members, and there were also other business people. So today, we are going to speak to one of those persons who had a very stressful time, not just because of the delay or flight cancellation, but because it was timed just before her board or licensure exam. Tingnan natin what actually happened. And after that, we will be speaking to two ranking officials or well-known personalities in the agriculture sector, one from the fisheries sector and another one, of course, from the farmer sector, in response to the threat to food security, because that seems to be becoming more evident that our food security is now insecure. Okay, so we will go to that, but first let's go to our daily starter. And our daily starter goes: you don't have to know every detail about someone as long as you already know their heart. Forgive me, I think I picked this up from one of the Netflix movies. I'm not sure, but it just struck me that it is so true, so real. You don't have to know every detail about someone as long as you already know their heart. If you speak to your parents, you speak to people who are older and wiser, they might tell you that at the end of the day, it is the heart of a person that matters, not the history of a person. Because history is in the past. History doesn't always determine the future, although in some cases, history will give you warnings, will give you heads up, but all those details are not conclusive. And the more conclusive thing is when you know the heart of a person. Is the person really a good person? Is the person really a compassionate person? Is the person really an honest person? Those are the key words, the heart of a person. as the Bible says, guard your heart. And if you are dealing with other persons or people, know their heart. Kasi kung anong klaseng puso meron sila, yun ang tutubo sa buhay mo. Okay? Anyway, let's now go to the front page of the Philippine Star. May 24, 2023, Wednesday. And the headline is, dun, 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 ABS-CBN strikes deal with Prime Media. And below that, Romualdez owned firm has 51% stake, Teleradyo signing off. Okay, yun po yung malungkot na balita that Teleradyo, the ABS-CBN combined system for radio and television, is signing off. And there we go. Broadcast media giant ABS-CBN Corporation is entering into a joint venture with a subsidiary of the holding company owned by Speaker Martin Romualdez after announcing that it is ceasing operations of Teleradyo by June 30 due to financial losses. The joint venture will be instituted with an initial paid-up capital of 40 million, of which Prime Media Holdings Inc., as the majority stakeholder, will invest 51%, while ABS-CBN, as the minority stakeholder, will own 49%. Okay, I am sure that this is a story that is just beginning to attract attention because some of you probably will be asking, Teka, aren't you supposed to divest from such ownerships if you hold a elected position or if you are Speaker of the House of Representatives? So yan po yung mga siguradong magiging issue in the coming days. We will find out. Meanwhile, at the top of the front page, drug war victims' families submit documents to the International Criminal Court. Okay, a number of about 156 families have submitted their observations, opinions, and statements, and this will be reviewed by the ICC in connection to certain aspects involved in the war against drugs during the Duterte administration. Big photo at the top of the front page is a photograph or image of the post office, okay? Post office building that burned last Sunday. And the news is that the post office is insured for 604 million, okay? The GSIS, or Government Service Insurance System, will be assisting in the reconstruction by way of giving the funds for the insurance. Okay. And then we have a story, DA Executive, BBM approved award of sugar import to 3 firms. Okay, according, it was President Marcos himself who ordered the importation of sugar by selected importers to address inflationary pressures and keep the prices of the commodity in the market from rising further, according to Senior Agriculture Undersecretary Domingo Panganiban. Okay, during a Senate investigation yesterday. President Marcos, said let's import through selected importers of sugar. Okay, so whether that becomes an issue or not, only the Senate will decide. 3 more Degamo suspects retracting. Okay, 3 more suspects or 3 more arrested individuals in the assassination of Negros Oriental Governor Roel Degamo and 9 others have withdrawn their first sworn statement that implicated suspended lawmaker Arnulfo Teves. So yun po, ha? Binago ang kanilang sinumpaang salaysay. Okay. Meanwhile, Mawar strengthens into super typhoon. Okay? The effects of super typhoon Mawar could be felt as early as Friday as it enters the Philippine area. Okay, Philippine area of responsibility later this week. Pag-asa said Mawar, which would be called Betty, strengthened into a super typhoon around. Paghandaan nyo po ito, although again, it is not expected to make landfall, but its trough is forecast to bring rains over parts of northern Luzon, including Palawan, Manila, etc. So, while it will not hit us directly, it will wet us. Babasahin tayo ng Typhoon Mawar. Okay. And photo, the bottom of the Philippine Star. Kung sa Congress, meron po silang mano po. In the Senate, lumuhod po. Okay? Videograph shows Senator Ronald De La Rosa, a former PNP police chief, getting down on his knees to plead with police officers to tell the truth on the 6.7 billion drug haul last year during a Senate hearing yesterday. Nako po, iba na talaga, no? Ibang-iba na because in previous administrations or bodies of the Senate, ilagay kayo sa Senate detention room hanggat magsabi kayo ng totoo. Okay. Anyway, speaking of PNP chiefs, the Philippine National Police is seeking a mutually acceptable solution on the issue of overhauling the pension system of the military and other uniformed personnel. PNP Chief General Benjamin Acorda Jr. is looking forward to a dialogue involving the issue on reforming the MUP pension system. Okay, end of the day, either all of you cooperate and work with each other, or we let the chips fall where they may, and according to the experts, baka hindi raw tumagal. Even President Bongbong Marcos has said, left to its own device, the MUP retirement or pension plan will ultimately run out of money. So yung mga nasa unahan, kakabig, yung nasa hulihan, sorry na lang, ha? Mag-ipon na kayo, mag-save na kayo ng pera ninyo. Okay, so that's it. That's all the news on the front page. Let's go for a quick break, and when we return, we start with our interviews.
Well, 1 minute break. Maki, you're up next.
in the program, I spoke about the problems that travelers encountered in the past few days regarding flight cancellations and severe delays at the NAIA and other airports, courtesy of Cebu Pacific. Now, please we want to put it on record. We exerted all efforts to contact someone from Cebu Pacific because we want to be fair for all sides and give everybody a chance to explain and tell us what's the situation to be able to find solutions and inform the public. Unfortunately, no one from Cebu Pacific made themselves available, so we are forced to go with only one guest, and she represents the various passengers who were subjected to delays, flight cancellations, and a host of other problems. We have with us this morning Maricris Sixon, who is a dentistry graduate. She recently went viral after posting about her Cebu Pacific experience, which nearly caused her to miss her board exam. Maki, good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning po.
Okay, Maki, thank you for making time for the program, and we just want to get your side, or at least find out what really happened, because a lot of people may mga talaga nagkwento regarding your post, and sabi na montik nang hindi makapag-board exam, tapos napamahal palalo yung gastos mo returning from Manila. Could you please tell us your story?
Well, it started po nung morning not morning, afternoon na siya eh. I received a message from Cebu Pacific saying that my flight has been changed. That was my mistake. Ang nangyari kasi was I was sobrang stressed, anxious na ako for the upcoming exam. And the only thing I saw was the time. Hindi ko nakita yung date. And I wasn't expecting that they will be changing the dates from May 1 to May 5th. So I accidentally clicked yes, accept. Because I don't want the flight to be canceled. Kasi yun lang yung option nila. It's either you change or either you accept it or you cancel the whole flight. I couldn't afford for it to be canceled because yun nga po, very important thing yung agenda ko sa Manila. And then, so I did. Only for me to find out, I was already in the airport at this time only to find out na yun na May 5th, which is by then, tapos na yung theoretical part of my exam. So I panicked. I rushed to the counter only to tell them na, how can you do this to me? Hindi ako nagalit agad. But the moment the person who was there told me na, we can't do anything about it, doon ako medyo tumaas yung boses. Kasi sabi ko, how can you do this? I booked this 29 of January this year. How can you bump me off without prior notice? And then after siguro a few minutes of discussion, they agreed na ililipat nila at a sooner date, which is May 2nd. Kaso 8 p.m. po, ng 8 p.m. And sabi ko...
Okay, let's put this in context, Maki, okay? You booked for the May 1 flight because you have a board exam for dentistry May 3, correct?
Yes, that's correct po.
Okay.
Tapos, yon. And then, sabi nila, sige. And then I asked, sure na po ito hindi po ako parang chance passenger. Sabi niya, ma'am, hindi pa po rin yan sure kasi there could be cancellations pa rin. And sabi ko, how can you do that again? Sabi ko, kung May 2, hindi pa rin. Tapos super late po. Gabi ang flight ko. So, bali makakarating ako sa Manila by 9:50. Yung assigned po sa akin na school is in Caloocan pa. And I have like 2 big bags of stuff kasi dalawang part po kasi ang dentistry exam eh. So, I have all my stuff for making dentures, everything. Ang bigat po noon, sobra. So, nasa airport na ako, dala-dala ko na to lahat. So, sobrang hassle ng time na yun pa lang. And then, ang nangyari po, yun, binigay. I couldn't do anything. Sabi nila, wala daw earlier flights, fully booked daw. And true enough, when we check naman from our end here sa Philippines, wala talagang flights. Even sa PAL, every other airlines were fully booked. So, ayun, umuwi na ako. I just cried the whole time. Kasi sabi ko, wala na. I prepared for this, pero parang sabi ko, parang hindi talaga uubra. And then I came home, natulog na ako. Kinabukasan, my aunt was calling me at around 7 in the morning. Sabi niya, she managed to book me a flight at 9 a.m. Cebu Pacific din. But she paid 480 Australian dollars, 480 Australian dollars. And sabi niya, pack your things, go straight to the airport because your boarding is at this time. I forgot na what time it is. So I went straight there, di ko na tinanong lahat. Sabi ko, like, how can they do that? How can they offer the next available flight to new customers when they have so many people waiting to go to Manila prior? How is that possible? How is that legal? Di po ba? So yon, di na ako nagreklamo about that. I just went and straight kasi wala na akong energy for it na magtanong pa about it. And then fast forward 3 weeks after, I was over the moon because I passed the board exam, thankfully, despite the stress that they've caused me. Tapos, pagdating ko doon, wala akong na-receive na kahit anong messages from them. Pagdating ko doon, maaga na ako nagpunta. Just because ayoko nang magkaroon ng kahit anong issues in it. Like, I went there, ma'am, canceled po yung flight niyo. What? Sabi ko, again, yun sa utak ko, wala pa akong sinabi. Sabi ko, kailan yung next flight? Sabi ko, kailan ako babalik? Because I limited or budgeted lang yung pera ko for that 3 weeks of stay sa Manila. Wala na akong kamag-anak sa Manila or they're far away from Manila. My aunt is in Tagaytay pa. So, sabi ko, where am I going to go? Nag-rush na sa utak ko. Sabi ko, and then I asked the girl, sabi ko, where do you expect me to get the money to pay for everything? Sabi niya, ma'am, hindi naman po kayo magbabayad ng tickets. Sabi ko, yes, but that's 6 days from now. How do you expect me to ayun, nagtaas na ako ng boses. Kasi sabi ko, how can you do this again to me twice in 3 weeks? Sabi niya, ma'am, wala po kaming magagawa. So, tapos yun, may tinuro siya sa gate 6 daw, nandun daw yung office nila. And then I approached the guard outside. Ito pa yung pinaka nakakainis dun eh. Wala silang maayos na makipag-communicate sa mga passengers nila. Sabi ko, I only asked the guard, sabi ko, who can I talk to about this concern? I'm tired, I'm hungry, wala pa ako matinong tulog. Who can I talk to? And then sabi lang sa kanong guard, pumila ka dyan, marami rin kayong ganyan yung problema. Like, kahit konti lang sanang empathy sa mga tao. So I did, I lined up. Unfortunately, nakikita ko tong same guard na to, nagpapapasok ng mga tao. I don't know kung ano yung basis niya, kung sino ang papapasukin. I couldn't ask because I was at the back of the line. Kaso ginawa ulit nila nung ako na yung nasa harapan. And then they were handing out biscuits. And nalaktawan ako nitong guard na, ewan ko kung may issue siya sa akin or what. Siguro kasi medyo mataray na yung tone ko when I approached him.
Galit o takot sa dentista?
Baka po, maybe. Baka medyo hindi.
Anyway, I'm just trying to calm you down. But okay, so what happened?
And then, this guard did not give me the biscuit. So I kinalabit ko siya kasi gutom na din po talaga ako. Sabi ko, wala. And then, sabi ko, can I have some, please? Then, binigay niya sa akin. Sabi, brace yourself for this. Sabi niya sa akin, parang hindi ka na magalit. Seriously? And hindi na ako nagsalita. I just lost. Wala na akong energy. And then, after waiting for 7 hours, they managed to get me a flight the following day. After kung magpakita ulit ng frustration. And sorry, I know medyo baka overtime na, pero sabihin ko lang din na yung nauna sa akin na going to Dumaguete as well, her flight is different than mine. Meron siyang connecting flight. Kawawa nga siya actually. Kasi ako direct flight yung nakuha ko. Same location ko going to Dumaguete. Siya, ang binigay sa kanya is going to Cebu, and then she'll have to wait until 9 p.m. for her to fly from Cebu to Dumaguete. Hindi ko alam kung paano nila nagagawa na iba-iba. I mean, siguro, kailangan ba magreklamo? Kailangan ba frustrated ka na? I really don't know how they actually, I don't know.
Okay. So what would you like to tell the management of Cebu Pacific and the public after all of this experience?
For the management po, please do something about your system. It is all over the place. You have to have a priority list. Huwag kayo basta-basta lang na magka-cancel because not everyone is going to places just to have a holiday. Some of us have things to do that are life-changing, like with mine. It was a board exam. Like again, I said, luckily I passed because if hindi, I would have blamed you guys, Cebu Pacific, because sobrang stressful yung ginawa niyo sa akin. For the public, I would just tell you, know your rights. Huwag kayong basta papayag because they have to do something about it. Hindi siya acceptable for them to tell you na couple of days pa before they could actually give you another flight. They have to do something, whether, like, nabasa ko lang po to sa mga comments, like, if they cannot offer you a flight immediately, they should find another airline that could provide you that flight. And they should be the one to pay for it.
Okay, were you ever compensated for all of this because your flight was canceled, your aunt had to pay 400 plus Australian dollars to get you on another flight when they said there was no more space, etc. Was there ever any offer na, okay, we'll give you a voucher or a coupon? Because to be fair, I know that Cebu Pacific has done that with other passengers.
They have called me po, twice na. They have called me and we're going back and forth kasi sobrang kulang-kulang yung sinasabi nila sa akin. And according to, his name is Romel from Cebu Pacific, he's called me twice na, 3 times sana, pero I missed the one call. We're still talking about it kasi hindi kami magkita kung saan kami, like sabi ko nga po sa kanila is, you have to give me a better offer because what they're offering me, I don't just accept it kasi sobrang perwisyo yung ginawa nila sa akin.
Okay, well, I'll leave it at that, Maki, and I do hope that this experience is something that you will be able to move on from, and please take care of yourself, and congratulations. The country needs dentists, and I hope that you will be as vocal about dental health, dentistry, as you have been vocal about your rights as an airline passenger, because I know, and I'm speaking from experience with poor people, that dentistry needs to be pushed and dental health even more. Thank you very much, Maki.
You're welcome. Absolutely po. Thank you.
Okay, that's a recent graduate and board passer, Marie Chris Sixon Maki, whose post on Facebook, social media went viral with her experience, along with the experience of many. Hindi po ito isolated case. And for the record, not only did we reach out to Cebu Pacific, we also tried to reach out with NAIA, MIA, MIA, CAB authorities, even Congress. And for some strange reason, no one was available. So if anything, we are making this an agenda on agenda, that we make government officials, companies responsible and responsive. Hindi po ito personalan, trabaho lang. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we go to the issue of being insecure about our food security here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda, and our next topic is how many of us are now insecure. Hindi po tayo insecure emotionally or about relationships. We are insecure about the country's food security because all the indicators are scary. Joining us today, our experts of the field. Gab, please roll out the Betamax.
Leonardo Montemayor is the chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers. He was also an agriculture secretary, serving during the term of former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Fernando Hicap is the national chairperson of PAMALAKAYA, an alliance of activist fisherfolk groups. Hicap previously served at the Congress as representative of the Anapawis party list.
Okay, good morning, magandang umaga, Kalyoni, Kapando. Welcome to the program, and I've already laid down the cards. We are insecure about our food security. Kalyoni, I remember before Bongbong Marcos was elected president, you tried to be optimistic about the scenario, and when he became president and secretary of agriculture, you went from optimistic to hopeful, and believed that as secretary of agriculture, he would have all the power to get us moving. But what is your assessment now?
Yeah, at the beginning of the president's term, tama ka, Cito, optimistic ako eh. Kasi he was saying the right things. Especially yung sabi niya, we should rely more on our local production rather than rely on importation, especially for our food requirements. At maganda rin yung naging isang major accomplishment niya, which was to significantly increase the budget of the Department of Agriculture by almost 40% for the current year. Pero there were other things that I thought that could have been done to really push through with this program to modernize Philippine agriculture. Pero parang somehow wala pong kulang pa po siguro ng overall structure at saka specific steps that will be undertaken to put in place the necessary reforms.
Okay.
So a lot still has to be done, Cito.
Okay, ikaw po, what about you, Kapando? Sa pamamalakaya, malapit ang puso ko sa mga mangingisda, sa mga nasa dalampasigan, kasi ano ko may dugong syokoy ako eh. Ano ang assessment ninyo? Ano ang situation? Because laging pinag-uusapan rice laging pinag-uusapan sugar, pero hindi napapag-usapan yung karagatan at pamamalakaya.
Yes, magandang umaga kaya Cito and Leone, no? Tama po 'yun, no? Halos mag-isang taon na si Pangulong Marcos as the secretary, no? Sa bahagi ng fishing industry talagang wala Wala kami nakikitang positive solution niya doon sa mga tagal ng problema natin, ano? Yung patuloy na pagbaba ng production, no? Ng ating pangisdaan. Actually, yung pinaka-recent PHA report nga, no, survey nila, malaki yung binagsak In 2021, 1.7% yung decrease ng production natin. In 2022, ay malaki, 6.8%. Kaya nakakabahala po, no? Pero sa ganong sitwasyon, wala po tayong insurgency na nakita na solusyon, ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. For example na lang, halimbawa, sabi nga namin, hindi kami nagkukulang doon sa pagpapahayag at mga dialogo sa mga government agency, lalong-lalo na sa BIPAR, na siyang direkta na dapat ay nangangasiwa para sa produksyon at pagpapaunlad ng pangisdaan natin. Niris natin yan, ng isang pinakamalaking dahilan, siyempre, nung pagbaba ng produksyon natin, itong mga reclamation, sa mga karagatan natin. Hindi lang reclamation, kundi yung dredging. Kumbaga yung halimbawa yung Manila Bay, hinuhukay yung ating coral reefs dito sa Nicolas Shoal, sa gitna ng Manila Bay sa part ng Cavite, At yun yung itinatambak dito sa itinatayong airport at saka yung expansion ng SM at saka itong sa Pasay City Reclamation Project. Napakalaki na po yan, no? Halos 2 taon na nararanasan natin yan. At ang pinaka-epekto niyan sa mga mangingisda natin, particular sa Manila Bay, sa buong Manila Bay, no? Halos 80% talaga ng production yung nawala. So, yun yung number one. Sa nakikita namin dahilan yung mabilis na pag-decline. At pangalawa, siyempre, yung epekto rin ng pananatili ng China at tuloy-tuloy na harassment sa mga Filipino fishermen dyan sa West Philippine Sea. Halos kasi 20% din eh. Sabi ng BIPAR, yung total production natin ay galing sa West Philippine Sea. Ayon mismo sa mga mangingisda natin sa Zambales na nakaasa yung kanilang pangingisda sa West Philippine Sea. 70% ng kanilang huli. Kung compare natin nung wala yung presensya ng Chinese Coast Guard dyan at pangahara sa kanila at saka yung mga commercial fishing vessel, 70% yung nawala compare mo ngayon. Kaya yun, yung mga malalaking issue na gusto nating kagyat sanang matugunan dahil nga naranasan na natin yung impact, yung pag-decline ng produksyon ng ating pangisdaan.
Okay, Kalyoni, what are the solutions or may pag-asa ba? Because when Kapando was talking about yung production, natatandaan ko, I think it was BFAR who came out with the statement that they want to promote marine aquaculture, floating fish cages, and munti ko na malaglag yung iniinom kong iniinuman kong baso, munti ko na ibato sa pader. Kasi 1980 pa namin ginagawa yan sa Palawan eh. Yung mga floating fish cages na yan, ngayon pa lang ginagawa. You having been a former Secretary of Agriculture, Kalyoni, what should be done? And why is it no one seems to want the job? Maraming gustong mag-DOH Secretary, pero wala akong nadidinig na gustong DA Secretary.
Siguro dagdagan ko rin ng konting context ito, yung issue ng food security.
Yes, sir.
Isang bagay na talagang nababahala ako, taon-taon, I would say starting nung mga mid-1990s, nung tayo ay pumasok sa free trade system under the World Trade Organization until today, palaki ng palaki po yung agwat ng ating ine-export na agricultural products at yung ating inaangkat, ini-import. Ito yung tinatawag na agricultural trade balance. Malaki po yung deficit. In fact, I noticed, noong 2021, our agricultural trade deficit was about almost $9 billion. Ang laki. Tapos, ang nakalulungkot lalo, last year, 2022, lumubo pa po ng almost $12 billion na lugi tayo sa palitan po ng exports at imports, especially sa cost po ng mga bigas, other cereals, mga karne po, I would say including also mga fisheries products. So, anong klaseng food security ang ating makakamtan kung palaki ng palaki po yung ating inaangkat vis-a-vis yung ating naman pong iniluluwas. So, maliwanag na there is really the system of so-called free trade has not worked for us eh. And tuwing magkaroon ngayon ng kakulangan sa pagkain, ngayon asukal ang pinag-usapan o kaya sibuyas, ang kumbaga knee-jerk reaction is umangkat na naman. O kaya i-reduce yung tariff rates para mas madaling umangkat. Kung palagi ang natin, response, talagang hindi malulutas yung ating problema sa agriculture, lolobo ng lolobo yung ating agricultural trade deficit, nadami yung kawalan po ng trabaho, and so on. So, the first reform I would say that is needed is yung mindset. Kailangan talaga kung talagang puspusan yung ating gusto na magkaroon ng seguridad sa pagkain, talagang full support to yung local food production. Diba? So sa
is there
like sa fisheries, at tagal-tagal na problema yan. Hindi ko maintindihan kung bakit, lalo na the past, siguro last 5 or 10 years, palaging negative ang growth natin sa fisheries sector.
Okay, ang tanong, sino ba ang gumagawa o who is calling the shots? Who decides regarding our agriculture policies and activities. Are there real experts at the DA who are actually telling the president what has to be done? Or is our agriculture policy in terms of local and foreign application being pushed by economists and politicians?
Tama yung sinabi mong huli, Cito. It's really our economic managers who are deciding even agricultural policy. 'Di ba? Sila ang silang in effect ang siguro nag-impluwensya sa itaas na importation is the way to go. We cannot be competitive if we still keep pushing our traditional agricultural products. So, ang DA naman medyo kulang siguro sa pag-pushback at i-emphasize yung kahalagahan po ng local production. So,
Okay,
isip pa mindsets at saka kung sino mas maka-impluwensya po.
Okay, Kapando, wala ba kayo, don't you have congressional representatives, party list representatives sa dinami-dami ng mga mangingisda, mamamalakaya, and farmers, Kalyoni? Don't we have enough people in Congress to call attention to this? Because you said 9 to 12 billion dollars baka mo ang ginagastos natin for importation.
Yes, that's the
Yes,
trade deficit. Opo.
O, Kapando.
Yes, oo. Sa ngayon, no, actually, meron pa naman yung Makabayan Block, pero in particular sa sektor ng mga mangingisda, wala na kasi ako naging kinatawan ng anak pawis noong 16 Congress, 2013 to 2016 yon, no? Doon sa tanong mo, meron bang mga party list na kinakatawan yung mga agricultural, mga magsasaka? Actually, marami sila. Ang isang problema, hindi naman interest ng mga magsasaka natin at mga mangingisda yung kanilang itinutulak o isinusulong sa Kongreso. No? Maliban sa ilan na mayroong mga simpatya at nakakasama natin tulad ng ibang mga party list representative against dito sa pag-aproba na uli, no, ng RCEP, yung Regional Economic Partnership Agreement na lead by China na malaking epekto sa atin. Pero sa kabuuan ay wala, no? Yung Makabayan Block po, matagal na po yung isa sa pinaka-legit solution sana para matiyak natin yung food security, yung pagtulak, no, ng genuine agrarian reform bill, no? Na kung saan ang pinaka-solution talaga para matiyak natin yung food security natin, dapat yung production natin ay sapat, sobra doon sa pangailangan ng ating mamayan, no? Kapag hindi natin na-meet yung ganong requirements ng ating ekonomiya, malinaw na mayroong kahinaan at kakulangan o failure yung existing pinapatupad ng mga economic planning and programs, no, ng ating gobyerno. At yun ang nararanasan natin ngayon. Kasi isang problema natin, yung patuloy na pagsunod natin sa mga imposition, ano, doon sa World Trade Organization at saka dito sa RCEP, kapag ipinatupad yan, mas malaki yung epekto. Kasi neoliberal na nga eh. Kaya tinatanggal na yung yung responsibilidad dapat, no, ng ating ng gobyerno sa mamamayang Pilipino para matiyak, no, yung food security and other mga basic services ng mamamayan, binibigay na sa pribado. Kaya ito yung mga kailangan mong baguhin talaga eh. Yung kabuuan ng buong struktura at buong polisiya at program ng ating economic policy.
Pero
no?
at your
hindi
level,
simpleng solusyon.
okay, at your level, Kapando, hindi ba kayo natutulungan? Are you not being developed by like, let's say, DBP, Development Bank of the Philippines, Land Bank? Para kasi noon, I remember, Kalyoni, during your time, pinag-uusapan pa rin yung mga kooperatiba, modernizing the fleets of fisher folks, etc. Eh, ano na bang kalagayan ng mga fishermen, Kapando?
Actually, maganda nga napag-uwan natin kasi matatandaan natin nung panahon, no, nung mag-ratify yung 1995, yung WTO, General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. At isa sa pinanukala nung panahon ni President Ramos, yung Agricultural and Fisheries Modernization Act, di ba?
Correct.
Na merong mga target na tinatawag nilang mga SAPD, strategic agricultural and fisheries development zone, no?
Mm.
At yun, mula noon hanggang ngayon, yung sinasabi na maging tiger economy tayo, hindi nangyari. Kundi talagang namatay, halos dahan-dahang namamatay na yung local industry. Kasi hindi naman natupad yung industrialization eh. Halimbawa, kung sa fisheries yan, hindi po nag-unlad o umunlad man lang o yung kagamitan ng mga maliliit na mangingisda na natili, ayon sa datos ng BIPAR, yung registered boat ng mga mangingisda ng municipal fisher, mga 68% disagwan pa rin eh. Or at least mga 40% lang yung bangka na gamit ay makina, pero mga maliliit na motor lang yon. Kaya wala pong modernization, kundi ang nangyari ng ating mga pangisdaan natin ay conversion and privatization. Totoo yun na medyo lumaki ang umunlad yung ating aquaculture sector kasi mas malaki na ngayon yung total production eh. Kung i-compare natin sa tatlong major sector under the fisheries, yung industrial, halimbawa, yung aquaculture, municipal and commercial fishing vessel. Mga 1960s, yung ambag namin ng mga maliit na mga isda, more than 60% eh. Pero after ngayon ay halos mga 23% na lamang. Ang malaki na naiambag yung aquaculture ay nasa 52% na yung total production natin. Magandang pangitain to, yung aquaculture. Kaya lang merong kailangan din nating bantayan kasi yung impact nito doon sa pagkasira ng ating pangisdaan, yung pagiging polluted at saka yung matinding epekto doon sa pagwasak doon sa mga ecological balance ng ating pangisdaan, lalong-lalo na yung mga fish pond na winawasak, yung ating mga mangrove area.
Kasi naman pag nagtatayo ng mga floating fish ponds dito sa Pilipinas, masahol pa sa refugee camp, dikit-dikit at ang lawak-lawak. Anyway,
tapos overcrowded, no?
Yeah, okay. Kalyoni, going back to the main issue, insecure na tayo sa food security natin.
Yeah.
Now, ano ang forecast mo, Kalyoni? Because they're talking about El Nino, but people are saying, uy, napaaga ang tag-ulan, mahal talaga tayo ng Diyos. Are we just supposed to leave all of this to fate and to God?
Oo nga, tama kasi ito kasi marami na nga ang problema natin sa ngayon, sinusundan pa ng problema po galing sa kalikasan. So, and yet, as in the other problems, marami naman tayong pwedeng gawin eh. For example, but it cannot be done on an overnight o biglaang basis. Kaya nitong El Nino, alam naman natin na regular na po mangyayari ito eh. So I remember about 3 years ago, I suggested to then Secretary Willie Dar under the Duterte administration, Kako Willie, ba't hindi natin itulak ng gusto yung water collection system sa buong Pilipinas? Hindi lang sa mga malalaking dams natin, makaipon tayo ng tubig, kundi all the way down sa farm level. Tulungan yung mga farmers natin na magkaroon sa sarili maliliit na catchment systems, whether above ground or below ground. So kung medyo kinulang ng tubig, kaya ng panahon ng tag-init o El Nino, hindi po at the mercy tayo ng klima, di ba? At pati sa mga eskwelahan, yung mga school gardens, for example, dapat sinasalo yung tubig na tubig ulan eh. Nilalagay sa mga tangke.
But why is it always, Kalyoni, why is it always about rice? Kasi people have pointed that out 60% now of the agriculture budget goes to rice. And the rest is just give away, throw away, wasted. Parang it is not is there any science to how government is running agriculture?
Parang right now, Cito, parang that has been the, shall we say, the traditional way of approaching agricultural development. So usually by crop yan by commodity. Samantalang mas magandang approach sa tingin ko, yung system approach na tinutulungan yung magsasaka natin na mabuhay siya ng disente, hindi lang palay ang kanyang binibigyan ng pansin, kung hindi yung pakigulay, mga fishery activities, pati sa mga bukid. So it has to be a farmer-focused diversified approach. to
Okay,
food
what
security.
about investing sa pamamalakaya? Because Kapando, nabisita ko sa Zamboanga, isang crab fattening facility, computerized. Ang technology from China ang nagpapatakbo Filipino sa Zamboanga at ini-export. Nung pumunta ako sa ibang pang mga probinsya, Iloilo, etc., sinasabi sa akin, people were telling me, Cito, dito ka na lang. You will only find big crabs, nice fish, marine in these tourist destinations because everything else is exported. If that is
Yes,
the case, why don't we invest on a sector that can export its products and balance our import and export trade in agriculture?
Oo, sana, no? Actually, marami ng mga technology ngayon, no, na pwede talaga i-develop. Kaya lang, isang problema, may nagko-control, no, ng technology natin. For example na lang for aquaculture. Aquaculture ay isa sa pinaka, sustaining, no? At saka talagang pwede natin tingnan na ito yung magano ng food security and sufficiency sa ating bansa, no, para matiyak natin yung food supply ng ating bayan. Pero may pangangailangan dito yung pangangalaga ng ecosystem, lalong-lalo na yung environment impact kapag overcrowded yung ating aquaculture. Yun yung kailangan dapat, no?
Pero Kapando,
ang isang kasi ito saglit lang, may lang akong dagdag lang.
Okay.
Ang isang problema natin, yung mga teknolohiyang ito ay hindi napupunta sa mga nangangailangan tulad namin para maalis kami doon sa matinding kahirapan, yung poverty. Kaya ito yung kailangan dapat intervention ng ating government na mag-provide through cooperative or association ng mga mangingisda para hindi sila na-isolate. Kasi nangyayari diyan kasi ito, kapag merong ganitong mga korporasyon o mga individual businessman na tumatayo ng ganitong mga technology production system sa aquaculture, nagiging isolate na yung mga mangisda or nagiging mga mangisda at sila yung mga bayaran na lamang na hindi na angkop doon sa kanilang pangailangan.
Okay, kasi ang nangyayari po, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is I think, modesty aside, I can go to Kapando and teach them about how to raise lapu-lapu. I've done that in floating cages in Palawan. I've done that in aquariums here in Barrio Capitolio. So madali po 'yun. Tilapia kaya natin. Prawn kaya natin and bangus, but the problem, ladies and gentlemen, is there are no cold storage. The solar technology is not being introduced. The banks, development banks, are not sending field officers to start up those projects. And that's why our fisheries aquatic resource is still there in the primitive stages. Kumbaga, mano-mano. Okay, Kalyoni, last word is yours. What's your statement?
I totally agree with you, Cito. There are enough technologies available. At saka, as you mentioned, sa kaso ng lapu-lapu, marami rin tayong mga mangisda at saka private sector na gumagawa ng raising of lapu-lapu, talakito, and sea cages or fish cages. Pero yung comprehensive set of support, like access to credit, access to cold storage, di ba? At saka yung good connection with the market to maximize the income sa farmers, yun dapat siguro ang kailangan buuin po natin. Tulong-tulong po lahat para ma-maximize po yung hindi lang kita ng ating farmers, kundi po yung availability po ng pagkain para sa lahat.
Siguro kailangan magpiesta kayong lahat sa Menjola. Food festival sa Menjola para madinig tayo ni President Bongbong Marcos para magtalaga na ng tunay na Secretary of Agriculture and not one in absentia. I'm sorry, I am calling a spade a spade. I love the Philippines and we all have reason to worry and be insecure about food security. Gentlemen, maraming salamat po. Tuloy ang ating pagsisikap and God bless both of you.
Maraming
Salamat
salamat,
din po.
Cito, sa inyong
Okay.
programa. Mabuhay po kayo.
Okay, yan po si Leonie Montemayor, Chairman, Federation of Free Farmers, former Agriculture Secretary, and National Chairperson of PAMALAKAYA, Mr. Fernando Pando Hicap. Hindi po tayo anti-government, anti-whatever. We support government. We support the president. We pray for his well-being. But we all need to get our butts off our chairs and do something, or we will all have problems with food. Okay, let's go to the closing blessing for the day. It is from the book of John in the Bible, chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Kay Lord, wag po tayong afraid kung na kay Lord tayo, but we cannot just leave everything to faith when the Lord has given us two hands to plant, to harvest, and to invest. I'm Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us today. Maraming salamat po. God bless all of you. Please keep it here on One News. Thank you, Kapando.